The gate screeched like a banshee when I welded it shut. A fitting requiem for Karen's reign of terror. Her audacity inviting strangers to my cabin like she owned the mountain deserved nothing less than a steel-sealed rebuke. It started 3 months ago, when Karen, the self-appointed czar of our HOA, decided my secluded cabin on Pine Ridge was her personal Airbnb. I'm Jake, a quiet guy who bought that cabin to escape people like her. 50 acres of pines, a creek that whispers at night, and a view of the Sierras that makes you forget the world's noise. I'd spent years fixing it up, new cedar beams, a stone fireplace, a porch for my dog, Rusty, to nap on. It was my sanctuary. Then Karen happened. She wasn't just the HOA president. She was a walking caricature of entitlement. 300 pounds of disdain wrapped in leopard print leggings and a superiority complex. Her voice, a nasal bark, could curdle milk. At every meeting, she'd lecture us about community standards while her McMansion's lawn looked like a weed convention. I kept my head down, paid my dues, and stayed at my cabin most weekends. But Karen had eyes everywhere, binoculars. Probably, and she decided my underutilized property was her ticket to clout. It began with complaints. My cabin's roof was unsightly. My gravel drive was non-compliant. Never mind that my place was 5 miles from the nearest neighbor, hidden by a forest thicker than her skull. Then came the letter, a neon yellow notice claiming my cabin violated HOA bylaws because it wasn't actively contributing to community engagement. The solution? Karen had generously listed it on a vacation rental site to share its charm. She'd invited a couple from the city to stay there without asking me. Her email oozed fake sincerity. Jake, I'm helping you maximize your asset. You're welcome. I laughed at first. The gall. Then I checked the listing. My cabin, my home, was advertised for $500 a night, with Karen's PayPal linked. Photos of my porch, my fireplace, even Rusty napping, were plastered online. She'd trespassed to take them. My blood boiled. I called her, politely at first, demanding she take it down. Her response: "Don't be selfish, Jake. The community needs this." I emailed the HOA board. Crickets. Karen had them in her pocket, scared retirees and spineless yuppies who wouldn't dare cross her. I could have sued, but lawyers cost money, and I'm a carpenter, not a millionaire. So I drove up to the cabin that Friday, expecting to find it empty. Instead, I found Karen's SUV parked out front, her massive silhouette waddling across my porch, leading a yuppie couple in hiking gear. They looked confused, clutching overpriced water bottles, while Karen gestured like a game show host. Prime real estate, she crowed. Perfect for your Instagram aesthetic. I slammed my truck door. Rusty growled. Karen, what the hell are you doing? I shouted, storming up the path. She turned, unfazed, her triple chins quivering. Jake, don't make a scene. These nice people paid for a weekend retreat. The couple, a skinny guy with a man bun and a woman in yoga pants, froze, sensing the storm. Paid you, I snapped. This is my property. Get out. Karen smirked, folding her arms. The HOA has authority to repurpose underutilized assets. Read the bylaws. I wanted to throttle her, but I'm not that guy. Instead, I grabbed my phone and called the sheriff's office. Trespassing issue, I said. Send someone quick. Karen laughed. A grating cackle. Go ahead. Call the cops. I'm doing you a favor. The couple started whispering. clearly regretting their booking. I told them to leave, promising a refund if they'd paid anything. They scurried to their Prius and peeled out. Karen didn't budge. "You're embarrassing yourself, Jake," she said, checking her manicured nails. "This cabin's too good for a loner like you." That's when I noticed her carrying me spare key, the one I kept in a lockbox by the gate. She'd cracked the code somehow. My vision went red. I grabbed my welding gear from the truck. A plan forming. If Karen wanted to play queen, I'd lock her in her own fantasy. The gate was old but sturdy. Solid iron I'd forged myself. I fired up the torch, the blue flame hissing as I welded the latch shut. Karen watched, her smirk fading. "What are you doing?" she screeched, waddling toward me. "Stopping you," I said, sparks flying. The metal fused, sealing the only road in or out. My cabin was a mile up a dirt path, surrounded by forest. No way out unless you're a bear. Karen's face went purple. "You can't trap me here," she yelled, banging on the gate. I ignored her, finishing the weld. Rusty barked, loving the chaos. Sheriff Dan arrived 20 minutes later, his patrol car kicking up dust. He was a grizzled guy, nearing retirement, who'd dealt with Karen's nonsense before. "What's this about, Jake?" he asked, eyeing the welded gate. I explained everything: her trespassing, the fake rental, the stolen key. Karen interrupted, waving her arms like a windmill. "He's lying. I'm improving the community. Arrest him for false imprisonment." Dan raised an eyebrow, unimpressed. He'd heard her rants too many times. "Ma'am, you're on private property without permission," he said, pulling out his notepad. "That's trespassing. And listing his home online. That's fraud." Karen sputtered, clutching her handbag like a shield. "I'm the HOA president. I have rights." Dan sighed. "You have the right to remain silent. I suggest you use it." He turned to me. "You pressing charges?" I nodded. "Damn right." Dan cuffed her, which wasn't easy given her size. She wailed, accusing me of ruining her reputation. I almost felt bad as Dan led her to the patrol car. She tripped on a root, sprawling in the dirt. Her handbag spilled, revealing my key, a wad of cash, and a notebook listing other neighbors' properties she planned to rent. Dan shook his head. "Karen, you've outdone yourself." I cut the weld open later that night, but the damage was done. Word spread fast. The HOA board, humiliated by the scandal, voted Karen out unanimously. The couple sued her for their deposit, and the county charged her with trespassing and attempted fraud. Last I heard, she was selling her McMansion to cover legal fees. My cabin. It's mine again, quiet as ever. Rusty naps on the porch, and the pines whisper at night. Sometimes, I think about Karen's face when the cuffs click. Pure, poetic justice. The lesson: arrogance builds empires, but it's a shaky foundation. Karen thought she could bully her way into my sanctuary. But she forgot one thing: a man's home is his castle. And I'm damn good with a welding torch.